Hello, and welcome to the Constellations conference interviews for our upcoming conference, October 5th to 8th in Virginia Beach. My name's Linda Comeau, and today I'm extremely excited to interview Thomas Hubl, who is a pre-conference speaker as well as speaking keynote after our opening ceremonies on October 5th. And his topic is Restoring Relational Intelligence, Conscious Cultural Architecture. Welcome, Thomas.
Oh, hello, and thank you for having me on this conversation, Linda. Hello.
Oh, I'm delighted to meet you in person. I've been a follower for a few years, actually. I'm super excited. I know your time is valuable, and I usually ask people all kinds of funny questions about constellations, but this time we have to be a little different. So, although you are familiar with constellations, so we really look forward to having you at our conference. Tell us about restoring relational intelligence.
Yes, so my focus for this conference is going to be how collective trauma and kind of large-scale traumatization, also in the following generations, impacts our lives, our capacity to create culture, our capacity to stay healthy, our capacity to express our kind of vocation in the world. And I think a lot of it is coming down to like that relation is actually the electricity network of our culture and spirit, or the kind of the intelligence that we bring in life needs that relational network in order to be expressed. So it's a difference if I go to a cave and I keep on meditating for the next 30 years somewhere in solitude, or if I practice a conscious, aware, and fulfilled life within the marketplace. And within the marketplace or within the cultural environment, we need to relate. And I believe that we see more and more through scientific research, through family constellation, through therapy, and through just being a human being, how the past, and when I say the past, I mean the unresolved residues that we carry over into this moment, and the stuff that still, in a way, influences my decisions, my feelings, my body sensations, my thoughts, that are actually symptoms of a past that we are carrying with us. And so restoring relational intelligence means that we become aware how the unconscious patterns of the past actually might have a huge effect on how we create our culture. And then we deal often with the symptoms that it creates in our cultural environments, but actually they're kind of voices or messengers of unresolved issues. And we know that Bert Hellinger, with all his revelations that he brought that are groundbreaking and then opened the eyes, also especially the eyes of kind of a modern secular culture, where he introduced some of very deep mystical principles, but in a great way, so that we see, wow, there are actually principles underlying our reality. And so I think that the understanding of collective trauma and the understanding of the principles of family constellations are very close. And I have had this in multiple dialogues that I had with experts in the family constellation field, how close and similarly we look at things, or we come from different streams of the grounds, and so that's why I'm showing up at the conference, because first of all I want to support it, and secondly I think it's a great platform for exchange and sharing perspectives.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So obviously then you feel constellations help us being present in the moment by offloading some of our junk from the past that we've quietly, unconsciously, subconsciously inherited.
Right. The way I look at it is that, first of all, I think that collective trauma is a way bigger dimension than has been recognized until now. And I think that the transgenerational trauma transmission is way more significant for our lives than it has been acknowledged until now. And that also means that when I look at trauma, I look at, or collective trauma, I look at it as an impact onto our nervous system, as a way of the nervous system to deal with an overwhelming situation. But that massive trauma usually, in a way, produces one effect, which I call it a time-space distortion, which means that we feel separate in time and in space, which means that I'm either with my thoughts constantly in the past, and I'm trying to deal with the past, the sensations that come from my past, or I'm hanging out in a future, which is not really the future, which is kind of an imagination that I have because I don't want to be here. So either it pulls me into these polarities, or I feel separate in space. Like I feel distant, I feel not connected, I don't feel as that I'm part of a web of life, that I'm part of a living cosmos, that I'm part of a social network, a group, a team, a relationship. And so that separation in space and time is actually what we usually call not being present. And when we restore those aspects in our lives, so we naturally feel more whole, we feel more related, but as you also said, we suddenly feel also more present. We feel that we are where we are, and being where we are is kind of the basis for emergence. So that's where the real future shows up. So most of the biggest geniuses of all times, they didn't hang out in the imagination of a future because they didn't want to be here. They were so kind of into something, being it music, being it science, being it philosophy, being it like that, they spent so much time in the deepening process that in that presence, the future emerged, like great insights, revelations, groundbreaking ideas that came through because there's an availability in the now. So the inner state of presence, I believe, is a key ingredient to be innovative, to be on fire and creative about in any discipline. I think presence is a key issue, and we see it also when we work with people, and also in family constellations, when we really focus, attune, listen, being with. And so there are many small practices that we can do that actually all lead to a deeper presence in the moment. And I think family constellations are also being reinforced by deep presence. So if when we do it and we can be in a present state, so that the impact of the constellation is even stronger. And it also makes us more present, and it makes us more a partner of life, when life's happening, not afterwards or before. And I think that's a very interesting phenomena that combines actually the contemplative traditions with the kind of healing or integration or therapy world, where presence is a very highly valued asset, so to speak, in the current moment. Yeah.
Oh, that's very exciting. Yes, I talk to a lot of people about trying to be present in the moment, and it's difficult for a lot of people, and yet so freeing. You can be your authentic self. Wow, this is so exciting. And anything else to add? I've run out of questions. You've covered everything.
Yeah, I think what I would love to explore at the conference is like if we can together look at what I think the big dark lake underneath our cities. And when I say dark, I mean unconscious, the big lake of undigested material that we inherited from our ancestors, or we added something to it through our own life. But that the unconscious lake that our cultures build upon and our cities are built upon are so crucial, I believe, in the understanding in the modern or post-modern understanding of healing, integration, and also innovation. So how as a humanity we can take care, for example, of global issues needs that we collaborate together, that we more and more find out that we are actually kind of workstations of a big supercomputer. And that collaboration is only possible when we relate, when we care, when there's compassion, there's presence, there's love, there's mutual listening and understanding, there's the capacity to hold kind of contradictions in one's interior and not try to fix them. And so I think if we can see that the dimension of collective trauma, I believe, is a dimension where many new revelations, also for the individual inner work, will kind of be recognized or be understood, and therefore I think it's great for the conference, and it's also great because so many principles of family constellation are already based upon that understanding. So I think we're gonna have a really interesting time and a very meaningful and deep time.
Yes, that's so exciting. Yes, so many minds. Well, I'm quite sure your workshops are going to be completely full. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. You've very inspired me, and I'm sure you're going to inspire a number of our listeners. So Thomas's workshop will be on October 5th, the pre-conference, as well as speaking as a keynote after our opening ceremonies. Thomas Hubl, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was super nice meeting you after being a follower for a number of years.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conference.
Yes, and I'll send you a copy of this video. All right, thank you very much.